So when I'm working with CEOs, business leaders, or business owners, one thing that comes up sooner or later is how do we deal with the stress, overwhelm, burnout that potentially can happen. There's endless meetings, endless emails sometimes, and the amount of decision making that you're making at very high decision making or high stakes can lead to a lot of stress. So what are the techniques that we can put in place? I'm a systems guy. You've seen in my videos before. I like to build a system that's going to help us eliminate that, or at least reduce it to a controllable level. So it's important to remember the signs that we also see that's maybe leading to that. Sometimes we have our own blind spots when it leads to this. We can feel a lot of things ourselves, but what we really need to be looking for is, do we feel like maybe some of our decision making has been poor? Have we missed things? Has there got to a point where other people are a little confused about some of the decisions we're making or the pace in which we're making them? There's some telltale signs to look for. We know that if we're in this situation, in overwhelm, stress, burnout, that it's going to affect us. It's going to affect our business, the performance, and also probably inside of our personal lives, whether it's family, friends, everything else all in between. But one of the biggest things I've noticed that I think is probably the most important thing from an executive or CEO to think about is that it does kind of pull in your vision, and you're going to potentially miss strategic opportunities to grow your business, to increase the size of your organization or the performance of your organization, because you're in a very reactive position and you're just used to reacting, and you're going to miss that opportunity. That's one of the biggest things I think that we miss out when we're thinking about what the impacts of burnout can really lead to. So I've been working with the CEO of an organization, and before she was very overwhelmed when it came to emails, all the meetings that she was going to every single day, working long hours, starting before everyone else, finishing after everyone else, and really getting into a little bit of a tailspin on, how are we ever going to break this cycle? Everything was relying on her getting things done, moving it to the next level. And it did take a little bit of time, but we're able to sit down and kind of go through many different steps. But I'm going to prioritize, I think, the top 3 that both of us think probably had the biggest impact to bringing that back into control, and for her to be able to feel a lot better about how her business was going in balance with everything else in her life, but also the actual financial performance of the business, numbers at the end of the day. That's what we want to measure, is that scorecard, and also the team impact as well, which I'll touch on just in a little bit. So strategy number 1 is relentlessly follow the 80-20 rule. So I'm sure you've heard about the 80-20 rule, Pareto's principle, talked about it in other videos. It's that 20% in this situation where I'm talking about, that 20% of your time is really generating 80% of the results at the end of the day. That's what we're focused in on here. So first thing is to really figure out what that 20% of our time, or the types of activities that we want to engage in, spend time in, and focus all of our priority inside of that, or as much as we physically can. But the other part of it is to delegate everything else out into the organization. Is the organization ready? There's lots of questions I'm sure just popped into your mind. It could be a little bit of below the point, coming up with blame, excuses, and denial. Now, I wouldn't do this just cold. All of a sudden, someone came into the office and completely different personality, everything's getting pushed over to other people. What is going on? There's a change communication process, change management that we have to go through to let people know this is what we want to go through. There's a 7-step process to delegation. We want to fill that up as much as we can and exactly how we want to do it. We want to communicate. This is what I'm going to focus my time on as your position inside of this organization. This is a great opportunity for the future. This is something that I want you to focus in on. There's going to be more things delegated to you in this specific project, or when it comes to this kind of issues with a customer. However you want to break it down, taking everything on your calendar, your portfolio, the things that you've been looking at, and really focusing in on, does it hit the 80-20 rule for me? Is it that 20% that I want to be focused in on? And if it is, great. If not, it's going to someone else in the organization. Second strategy is having time at the end of the day for some sort of reflection. Now, reflection can be diaries, it can be gratitude journals, it can be all these different things. For me, what works well for me is just reviewing my goals. So I love to bookend my week and bookend my day. So the bookend at the end of the day for me is reviewing what I set out to accomplish. Just spending 10 minutes going through, these were my goals for the day, this is what I accomplished. If I didn't accomplish something, what can I do different the next day? Was there some of the delegation that worked well? Was there not? Just reflecting on all the different activities, just spending that 10 minutes at the end of the day to really go through and think about how well you did, what were the opportunities that you missed inside of just these 3 strategies, and making sure that you have a good plan for what is the most important things to tackle the next day. But it's very easy for us to get into the routine of that 10 minutes in the morning, the first bookend, because we're setting up our day. And we're going through, here's everything I have to do, here's my to-do list, checking my emails, finding out what I'm going to be working on. Again, going through the 80-20 rule there inside of that. But we often miss that last 10 minutes at the end of the day, whether we want to go do something, we've got something else planned, we just want to get out of the office, lots of different things, but really getting into the rigor of spending that 10 minutes at the end of the day just reflecting on how well we executed that day. And the third strategy is to build a few different stress reset routines, let's call them. And you can go into YouTube, YouTube University, and find lots of different ways that other people that are very skilled in this particular niche and topic that can give you some really good ideas. But what I like to think about is do something very, very short, something that maybe takes a little longer, and something that maybe takes that 10 to 15 minutes. So have something in your mind that you know works, that you've practiced, that you are used to, because when you need it, if you haven't thought about it, if you don't have a plan, you're not going to be able to execute it. You're not going to be able to go, okay, I just need to take a few minutes here and reset, bring that stress level down, bring that emotions down, the overwhelmed feelings. How do I just move that out? So, for example, there's great breathing techniques, there's counting techniques, that's that very small one. I only have a few seconds, 10, 15 seconds before I have to go do something else. How do I just bring that down? There'll be some sort of breathing exercise. You find something that works for you. Something in the middle could be just a quick walk. That's one of my personal favorites, is get up, walk around, whether it's the building, the plant, the operations, anything inside of that, but you're able to move around. It's a great, moving exercise. Just some kind of stretching is great for you in one place, but then also just walking around clears your mind. You see other things. It's a great way to reset that as well. And then something a bit longer, and you could be tying that a little bit in with the second strategy of having that reflection time. That's a great way to spend a little bit more time reflecting on something. Maybe a combination of a few other ones. Maybe some breathing, maybe some counting, maybe thinking, meditation, however it works for you, and then go into that reflection piece. So you have these strategies already in your mind. You're never going to come up with them on the fly when you need them. So you have to have them practiced, established. You know what signals you're looking for to be able to use them. You pull them out of your tool bag, execute them, and it's absolutely going to bring that overwhelm, the burnout, the stress level right the way down. And it's something that once you get into that unconscious knowledge of how you're doing it, you'll be doing it without even thinking. So these 3 strategies have worked absolutely very well for other people that I've worked with. It definitely brings a set process for bringing down that overwhelmed feeling. But more importantly, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier on as well, was we've seen big performance in the team. Because if you're not at your best, is the team going to step up and go, past your best? Or if you're at your top performance, it brings everyone else up. They're looking for a role model. They're looking for a mentor. They're looking for someone in the organization to mirror and monitor how they're performing. So we want to be at our best. And these techniques absolutely help with bringing and elevating the whole team inside of your organization. So if you'd like to spend some time talking about these strategies or other strategies I have in my executive coaching packages or business coaching packages, please reach out to me at Andrew Buchan. You can find me at ActionHTX.com, and we can have a quick, simple sit down, 20-minute conversation, talk about a couple of issues, see if we can find any low-hanging fruit or simple implementations, and see where the rest of your business can go as well. I'm Andrew Buchan, your Business Accelerator.